In 1970, California prisons housed 20,000 inmates. But by 2010, the state's prison population has swollen 750%, with nearly 170,000 inmates crowded into prisons designed for half that number. Funding for rehabilitation is cut by millions. Inmates are released unprepared, commit new crimes, and return to prison, a revolving door costing billions. The state's 66% recidivism rate becomes one of the highest in the nation, pushing the system to its breaking point. Now, under federal court order to reduce its prison population by 40,000 inmates, California must look past the razor wire for solutions beyond prison.
Eventually, they're going to be released.
What we were doing was not working. Don't get me wrong. If people are violent, dangerous, or they won't stop stealing, they need to go to prison. But the majority can and should be placed on probation. We just have to try to make the probation system work better.
Hawaii Circuit Judge Stephen Alm is the driving force behind HOPE, a revolutionary probation program that's producing remarkable results, dramatically cutting costs, recidivism, and victimization.
The prison system is made up mostly of people that have failed at probation. It's not judges at original sentencing sending people to prison. Judges, most people get put on probation, and rightly so. But it's failing at probation and then going to prison. And then at the other side of it, being released from prison early, going on parole, failing at parole, and going back into prison. So we have a very overcrowded prison system, and the only way you're going to bring that down is reforming the probation and parole systems. I thought to myself, what would work? You know, what would work to change people's behavior? And I thought, well, how was I raised? How did I raise my son? You tell him what, you know, the family rules are, and then if he misbehaves, you give him a consequence immediately. And then it doesn't have to be that severe, but it has to be swift and it has to be certain. So I thought to myself, could we bring that same kind of an attitude and approach to the criminal justice system?
120 days, early release at any time is approved by the PO.
A former criminal prosecutor and U.S. attorney, Judge Alm started HOPE in 2004 with 34 high-risk offenders who were failing at regular probation.
We just said, give us the people that are failing at probation, that are having the most problems.
It wasn't a situation where we cherry-picked people that we thought would be successful in this program. We started off with the highest risk probationers.
And then we're deciding, okay, let's get the toughest of that group and put them into HOPE. Because the research is clear. You should put your resources at those that are most troubled, that are having the most problems, because then you get the best bang for your buck.
Because of its success, HOPE now includes almost 2,000 probationers, nearly a quarter of those on Oahu, all overseen by a single judge.
A lot of us are very skeptical that, given Judge Alm's background, that he would be even remotely sensitive to the needs of prospective defendants and inmates. And ironically, Judge Alm's program, the HOPE probation program, has reflected a sensitivity to the community.
Regular probation is delayed, it's uncertain, and then when something finally happens, it's often unnecessarily harsh. HOPE probation is swift, certain, and proportionate. If the person shows up at the probation office, tests positive for drugs, I want that person arrested on the spot. Go to jail. We have a hearing 2 days later with the prosecutor and defense counsel. I was convinced that would be a teachable moment.
If you're going to bring the guy in or the woman in for every positive drug test and send him or her to jail, that's trying to change their behavior by punishment. And the traditional thought process was you can't change behavior that way. What we found was this approach to probation was indeed working.
People in HOPE are getting arrested 55% less often than their counterparts in regular probation. Because they're getting arrested for new crimes 55% less often, that means people are getting victimized 55% less often.
It's an enormous benefit. It's an enormous benefit financially, a benefit to the safety of the community.
People are not getting their houses burglarized. They're not being assaulted. They're not getting their cars stolen. 55% less often in HOPE than on regular probation.
I mean, I can't imagine people not supporting it in terms of safety, economics, and just common sense.
While supervision by HOPE probation officers is more frequent, only those offenders who violate the terms of their probation come before the judge, allowing the court to focus resources on the highest risk offenders.
The difference with HOPE from regular probation is if you violate a condition of probation, we're going to try to get you arrested as soon as possible, and you can plan on doing some jail time for any violation of probation. So if you follow all these rules, I'm never going to see you again. And something like a third of the people I have this conversation with don't come back to court. Another 20% come back once.
He tells them when they come in for their HOPE warning hearing that as long as they're being honest, which honesty is something prized by HOPE probation, that they will be minimizing the length of their sanction.
What I'm watching is how you handle it if you make a mistake. And you folks are all adults. My guess is unless somebody puts a gun to your head, nobody can make you do anything you don't want to do, right? You're going to make choices on that. But if you make a mistake, if you handle it quickly and responsibly, you will get a sanction in jail, but it'll be very short.
With HOPE, drug testing is random, and sanctions are immediate. Each HOPE probationer is assigned a color and is required to call a hotline every morning to see if that color has been selected. If so, the probationer must appear that day for a drug test.
Because a lot of people have drug and alcohol issues, everybody gets put on the hotline to begin with. They're going to give you a color for privacy purposes. The colors, the hotline is on a recording every morning at 4 o'clock, so you have to wait till after 4 to call. It's 441-8989. You will memorize this.
And I have to call this number 441-8989 every day. And it's strict. If you don't call that hotline and you miss your color, you're going to jail. No ands, ifs, or buts. There's no excuses. They're going to send you to jail. And if you run, they'll catch you.
Without monitoring, people just run wild. I mean, they got in trouble in the first place because they're impulse-ridden. They got in trouble in the first place because there was no guidance. There was no one there to step up to the plate and say, wait a minute, this is wrong. And when they're put on probation and not monitored, you're just giving them carte blanche to, frankly, make the same mistakes over and over again.
HOPE is parenting 101. And if you set up clear guidelines and clear consequences, I think it helps people make better choices.
You mess up, you go in there for 3 days. Then you mess up again, they give you a month early release to a program. Then you mess up again, you go 3 months early release to program. That whole ordeal, it gets tiring, yeah? Not only that, you start to wake up and be like, I don't want to go through this no more.
What HOPE does is, it's the simple concept that from now on, after warning the offenders, this is the way the rules are going to be done. Actually, the rules are going to be the same. We're just going to enforce them for the first time, each and every time. So from now on, if you test positive for drugs, you go to jail. If you miss an appointment, you're going to go to jail. If you run away, you're going to get arrested. You're going to do even more time in jail. And if it keeps on, you're going to go to prison.
HOPE is not a drug court. Not every offender is required to enter a drug treatment program. Treatment is mandated only if a probationer continually tests dirty for drugs, or if the probationer requests it.
A number of people can stop using methamphetamine, they can stop snorting cocaine, they can stop drinking alcohol if they know there are going to be consequences every time they test positive or every time they miss an appointment. And many are able to stop using drugs or alcohol on their own. If we can separate out the folks who can stop on their own from the ones who can't, then we will refer them to drug treatment. And it's quality drug treatment. It's either residential or it's intensive outpatient. And the combination of those really has helped to turn people's lives around.
Because only a small percentage of HOPE probationers receive mandated treatment, HOPE can afford to provide intensive outpatient and residential treatment for those most in need.
You can mandate treatment, and it does work. because we use motivational interviewing to make that stuff, and the research supports that. Our outcomes are, when you start residential, 80% complete our programs nowadays. That's phenomenal for us, and just in the last few years. That's way different than what we've ever experienced before. And we find that we do 6-month follow-ups and find about 65% to 70% are now clean and sober.
If you incarcerate somebody right off the bat, what does it prove? It doesn't prove nothing. It doesn't do nothing for the person themselves. A lot of states, they overpopulated by inmates because they just lock everybody up. You put somebody into a program, you supervise them, you save money, the state save money, person get a chance to get his life together. As for me, I finally got to know who my kids are. Okay. I never been there for my kids. Now I know who my kids are. I take care of my kids, I take care of my responsibilities. It works.
Now, with the HOPE program, we're saving huge dollars. Instead of sending them to jail, we send them to jail for a short term and then get those who need treatment into treatment, and you have immediate results.
They help you go to drug programs when you really need them instead of, like me, I had a drug problem, man, so they didn't help me go through that. It took me a while, but, you know what I mean, I got that out the way, so other than that, I made one turn for the better. And you'd be surprised how they give you a chance not to go to jail. If that's not inspiring enough, I don't know.
Hope probation at least encourages someone to remain clean and sober, get a job, go to vocational training, or go on and get a college degree or a high school diploma. That says a lot because it's encouraging a person and it gives them the one thing that they lack, self-esteem.
They have this saying now where if you cannot love yourself, then the program or your probation officer or the judge will love you till you can love yourself. And I started to experience that, yeah. I really felt that.
They have faith in you. They not only make it harder for you to use because of the hotline, but Hope Probation also gives you a chance to want to get a life. It's the best program in the world. This program is designed to help anybody who wants to help themselves.
In the beginning, it's rough, yeah? Because every addict, every alcoholic comes in with the intention of being able to beat the system. That's just the way we're wired, yeah? And as soon as you get over that, they find out that this program is here to save your life. And it does. It saves your life. I see the person that I'm supposed to have been all this time, yeah? I see a whole new man, yeah?
Each prison inmate in Hawaii costs taxpayers about $50,000 annually. By sharply reducing the number of probationers returned to prison, Hope is not only changing lives and protecting public safety, it's saving tax money.
Each person in HOPE is currently saving the taxpayers of the state of Hawaii between $4,000 and $6,000 per person. HOPE is the best thing I have worked on. It reduces victimization, it reduces crime, it helps the offenders and their families by keeping the offender out of prison, and it saves taxpayers millions of dollars.
It helps me, it helped me change, me become more honest, yeah, keep me in check.
It saved my life because I would still be running hard out there, I would. But I'm pretty successful now. I've worked hard for the last 2 years to get where I am, and I'm pretty proud of me.
So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. And I put 110% behind HOPE program. I think it's a great program.
So if we can help offenders to avoid committing new crimes, avoid victimizing people, and staying out of prison, and saving taxpayers millions of dollars, what could be better than that?
J.R. Jones is a worker at Alpine Steel, a steel fabrication company in Las Vegas, Nevada. Jones is also an inmate at Casa Grande, a transitional housing facility for non-violent felons nearing the end of their prison terms, which is proving to be part of the answer to Nevada's high recidivism and overcrowded prisons.
Recidivism is very expensive, very expensive. You know, not one time, 2 times, 3 times. That person keeps coming back through the system. It's very pricey, and we're paying for that. So why not do it right the first time? Doing it right, of course, is providing the essential resources and skills that these individuals need so that they can go out in the community and become a member of society, as opposed to, being a burden or becoming, a criminal again.
We know this works. We know this enhances public safety. We know this step down from our major facilities simply makes sense. It gives us a chance not only to supervise but monitor their behavior. We're also helping them obtain employment. We're also helping them with any type of substance abuse programming.
When they come to Casa Grande, they are given the opportunity to go out and look for a job, to go to school. They can have visitation with their family once they've reached a certain level of security. And for each step that they accomplish, their self-esteem increases significantly.
Early studies show Casa Grande is working, cutting recidivism and the cost of incarceration by nearly half.
We've significantly reduced the cost to the taxpayers, because you're looking at, in Nevada, you're looking at $58 a day for an inmate in one of our major facilities. Here, you've half that. You're at $26 a day. The inmates do defray some of the costs in the operation of this facility. They pay about $16.80 some a day to live here. So that room and board helps not only defray the taxpayers' cost and the state's cost, but also gives them ownership of the place, meaning that they take a responsibility for how it looks and what they do. I mean, they live here. This is where they live.
To come here is a privilege for an inmate. They have to have reached a certain level of security. They have to have followed the rules. They have to have fulfilled the majority of their education requirements. So it's sort of the senior year of prison.
If you're going to be in prison, this is where you want to end up. This is what you're striving for right here. I know guys that are getting out of prison walking out to the street with nothing. I'm getting out on the street with a job, money in my pocket. I'll be able to support myself walking out of here.
Located in an industrial area near the Las Vegas Strip, Casa Grande provides a wide range of programs, from substance abuse counseling, anger management, and family reunification to job training and placement, all designed to help inmates transition into the community without a return to crime.
The biggest thing that we try to do is provide them with job readiness. Since it's a work-release stage facility, they're able to work, obtain employment. We provide structured services for personal development, life skills, and job readiness, of course.
We put them through training to teach them how to develop a resume, how to put together a cover letter. We have mock interviews so that they continually get a chance to practice interviewing, being both the interviewer and the interviewee, which prepares them for a real-life job interview.
All the curriculum that we use and everything that we use is evidence-based practice.
The program is individualized. Everybody gets assessed depending on the age, the time, the length that they're going to be here. Job history or lack of job history or education level, that's what we'll focus on first. So that way when they leave here, we can remove some of those barriers of reentry so they're successful.
Companies that hire Casa Grande inmates receive tax breaks and other incentives. The inmates receive on-the-job training and learn new career skills.
They not only invest time and money in hiring them, but more importantly, they will invest time and money in training them so that they can move up. Case in point, Alpine Steel is one of those employers.
We have quite a number of guys that are working for us that came out of Casa Grande. They've been released now. They're on parole or they're off of parole, and they continue to be good employees for us.
This place has afforded me an opportunity to start a new career. So I'm looking forward to getting out, but when I do, I've already got a head start. And I've got money in the bank, saved up, and it's I don't know, it's just been a huge opportunity.
So we get good employees out of it. They get a transitional experience with an income, and so when they do get released, they've got money in the bank, so they have means to get back into society.
I can leave Casa Grande with a driver's license, an OSHA 30 card, and a job, and I have something to go to. California, sir, they're releasing inmates with what, $200 gate money, with absolutely nothing going for them. And this right here, sir, this is going to take me into a career I have my whole life set.
Yeah, when Alan first came in, I was going through the process of hiring several new employees, and just by chance he happened to come in that day. And as soon as I read his application of his past experience, and at that time I didn't realize he was at Casa Grande. So when I called and then I got a hold of an officer there, then I knew it was Casa Grande. But he interviewed real well, came out real well, and he's just been a go-getter since he's been here.
While Casa Grande is a transitional housing and work release facility, it's still a prison. To ensure public safety, correctional officers staff the facility 24/7 and strictly monitor the movement of inmates within the facility and throughout the community.
Every movement is structured. They just can't come to say, hey, I'm going to go to Walmart to find employment.
We videotape every person leaving, and they read from a script that says, I am so-and-so leaving on this date and time to go here. I will return on this date and time.
They got to give us the bus route. They got to let us know the times are going to be there, the times are going to come back.
At any time, we can go into the RTC, which is our transportation center, and pull up that pass, and we can see what time they got on the bus, which bus they took, and then so we can actually compare that to the route, because everybody has a route they're supposed to take. And if you did not go per that route, that's a deviation, you can't be here.
And one thing that we put in place is that our job developers and our custody staff do on-site visits. So if they state they're going to Walmart and they're going to be at Walmart at 2:30, at any time, our custody staff and non-custody staff could go and do a site visit.
We have a very strict disciplinary process, and if you deviate, you escape, use drugs, alcohol, or anything like that, you can't be in this community setting.
Now, let me tell you, they're strict on the rules. And, you know, rules are important because if you can't do rules here, how are you going to do rules outside?
Like the HOPE program in Hawaii, Casa Grande stresses accountability and encourages inmates to take personal responsibility for their lives and actions.
I'm a 5-time loser. I've been to prison this is my 5th time. Numerous violations in California. I got out and I chose to do I made the wrong choices.
Because the only thing that I knew prior to coming into prisons and institutions was crime. Now I have a way of making a better life and a better future for myself.
If they had this in California after my first term, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you. And that's real.
What is Casa Grande giving me that prison took away? My self-respect.
Every officer there went out of their way to help me. Everyone, when I needed something done to get me employed, they were there to help me.
We are vested in making sure that everybody here is successful, because we're going to see these guys again. And I'd rather see them in some type of service industry or working or coming and fixing something in my house than maybe on the other end of a gun or a knife.
As California begins the restructuring of its correctional system, programs like Casa Grande and HOPE Probation are showing the way, dramatically reducing recidivism and correctional costs while increasing public safety, showing how to go beyond prison and do it right.